restoration. The Four Suitors of Benitah by Jolie Olives. Up until he was 10 years old, Owen Parnaphasis was in an elite group of the very best families of Nices. They went to the very best tailors, shared the same tutors, played in the same exclusive company. When his mother died, and his father discovered that the money they had been living on was based on a thief's salary, he suddenly found himself in a very different kind of society, one that he had been ill-equipped to deal with. They were poor. Owen eventually learned to make a living at the only skill he seemed to be well suited for, gardening. In time he had grown an impressive garden of willow enter, gold kennet, chokeweed, white bloodroot, and trama shrubs. He had also grown himself into a remarkably uninteresting man. Aside from his gardening, he had little to say for himself. Unlearned, uncharismatic, unathletic, uncoordinated, and yet he yearned. Especially he yearned for a girl he had known before all his trouble, a sweet thing with curly locks and a joyous laugh named Benitah Gorgov. Once when at play he had pushed a bully away who was trying to hurt her, and the look of appreciation she gave him was enough to make all his days since then worth their while. As he tended his garden one springtide, not very many years ago, he heard some people talking through the thick-tall trama shrubs about the marriage of Sedura Induril, Poflik Mamuna, one of the wealthiest and most respected nobles of Nices, and Sergio Benitah Gorgov. His heart fell. She had found another, a merry 9 years since she had given him that look while at play. As spring turned into summer and summer into fall, Owen began to sell his herbs, including some to Kenna Yakin Bale, a prominent healer in town. He had been a tutor to both Benitah and Owen, and told the young man that the lady's husband was not very well. Owen held back his happiness and continued on his errands. Not long afterwards, Sedura Induril Poflik Mamuna fell ill and died, despite all the skills of the great healers, including Yakin Bale. When Owen came to deliver the herbs that day, he said, "If you are still in communication with Benitah, please give her my sympathies." "Nihao," said Yakin, "if I could get a word in with all her counselors. They're trying to find her a new husband, and she has made it clear that she will only marry the strongest man in Morrowind." "Who's that?" asked Owen. "Horath the Strong," replied Yakin. "It is said that he can lift a wagon with but his forefinger and thumb." "You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own strength," said Owen. "I beg you to teach it to me now." "Very well," replied Yakin, "but in return I want your next season's worth of trauma root, all to myself." Owen agreed, and Yakin taught him the spell to fortify his strength. It took him some time to master it, visualizing magic as streaming through his body, pumping through the very fibers of his muscles for a time, giving him strength far beyond the puny power nature had intended. When Owen met Horath on the street of Nices, he cast a spell and challenged him to a duel of strength. "I am Horath the Strong," said Horath the Strong predictably. "Witness as I lift this wagon with my thumb and forefinger," and he did so. "I am Nimlom the Mighty," said Owen, taking some artistic liberty. "Witness as I lift the stable that houses your wagon with but my forefinger," and he too did so. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The strongest man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bale. Her lady Benitah has heard of the strength of Nimlom the Mighty, and has said that she was mistaken. She was not looking for a man of strength to marry, but a man of intelligence, a great scholar, the greatest in all Morrowind. Who is that? Asked Owen. Kina Vorfel Thomasin, replied Yakin. It is said that he can best any man or woman in a battle of wits. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own intelligence, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Very well, replied Yakin, but in return I want your next season's worth of white bloodroot all to myself. Owen agreed, and for the next couple of weeks Yakin taught him the spell and trained him in its use. He taught him how to entrench his mind for the sudden assault of awareness and aptitude that would assail it, how to give himself to the sudden thoughts and theorems that would invade his consciousness. When he met Vorfel Thomasin in the Mages Guild of Nices, he cast his spell and gave the challenge. I am Kina Vorfel Thomasin, and I can prove that Aktosh, Nirn, and Oblivion are one, said Vorfel, writing out the mathematical formula that showed it was so. I am Kina Zombil Mokafa, and I can prove that you do not exist, said Owen. He wrote out the mathematical formula, which proved correct, and Kina Vorfel Thomasin vaporized on the spot. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The most intelligent man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bale. Your lady Benitah has heard of the intelligence of Kina Zombil Mokafa and has said that she was mistaken. She was not looking for a man of intelligence to marry, but a man of endurance, a rock, the greatest in all Morrowind. Who is that? Asked Owen. I'll say Master Komboa, said Yakin. They say he can stand in blue flames for 20 minutes. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own endurance, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Very well, replied Yakin, but in return I want your next season's worth of chokeweed all to myself. Owen agreed, and for the next several weeks he learned the spell to make his endurance like that of the oldest stone. He learned how to shrug off the effects of frost, poison, fire, and charges of lightning, pulling the pain into a reservoir of magicka and expelling it. Lesson learned. He came across Master Komboa at the Madach's trade house. My name is Master Komboa, said the fellow, nudging the witch next to him. Kina Lilies cast a ball of blue flame for me, and he sat in the inferno flame for 20 minutes before he left. Master Komboa, my name is Master Womf, said Owen. Kina Lilies cast a ball of blue flames for me. Owen sat in the inferno of blue fire for very nearly an hour before he left. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The toughest man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bale. Her lady Benitah has heard of the endurance of Master Womf, he said, not entirely approving of Owen's latest sobriquet, and has said that she was mistaken. She was not looking for a man of endurance to marry, but a man of agility, a nimble acrobat, the greatest in all Morrowind. Who's that? Asked Owen. I'll say Fancrezat Brief, said Yakin. They say he is the greatest shield blocker and pickpocket in Morrowind. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own agility, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Very well, replied Yakin, but in return I want your next season worth of gold kennet, all to myself. Owen agreed, and Yakin taught him the spell that would fire his impulses with magicka. Over several weeks he learned how to supplant his own natural energy with the spells, how to view the world at the slower pace a man with advanced agility sees. In time, Owen came upon Van Crezet in a field outside of the city, doing his regular exercises. Owen cast his spell and approached the acrobat. Behold the power of the amazing Van Crezet Brief, said the aforementioned, and prompted his sparring partner to attack him with his sword. He blocked the blows effortlessly with a shield for 10 minutes and then revealed afterwards that he had pickpocketed the young man's purse. Very impressive, Sir Brief. Now behold the power of the remarkable Gazoof Move, said Owen, and prompted Brief's sparring partner to attack him with his sword. After 20 minutes of blocking the man's blows with his shield, he revealed that he had pickpocketed Van Crezet Brief's purse. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The most agile man alive was in Province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bale. The door was closed this time and he heard voices within. Have you heard about the remarkable Gazoof Move? Yakin Bale was asking. He sounds like a very promising suitor. The truth is, Kina, that I have no more interest in him than I had in Nimlom the Mighty, Kena Zombel Mokafa, or a Master Wumph, replied a feminine voice that seemed familiar to Owen. I will have to invent a new test for suitors while I search for my true love. You don't wish to marry the strongest, most intelligent, toughest, most agile suitors? Asked the old healer. No, not at all, said the woman. I had to make some kind of test to rebuff the advances of so many men interested in my money and the money of my late husband. The truth is that I have never forgotten the young boy who was so kind to me when I was a little girl, and so brave, fighting off bullies. His name was Owen Parnaphasis. Owen burst into the room and was reunited with Benitah. They were married at once. A week later, he returned to Yakin Bale and learned how to fortify his personality in exchange for the next season's worth of Willow Enter. Then they lived happily ever after. Oh, that was a good one. I like it. So,
With pleasure. Please, go ahead. I'm all ears.
No, I haven't taken the next quest for him. Okay, so what do you want? Now, bring me 5 units of script jelly for cure poison and cure blight potions. The closest reliable source of scripts is the Shulk Egg Mine, southwest of Balmora, on the west bank of the Oadi Odai, near Swinging Bridge. The Kwama worker is not aggressive, but the Kwama warrior and Kwama forager are another matter. Be careful with them. I'll teach you the detect creature spell to help you to find scripts. Okay. The mine is a short distance southwest of Balmora, in the bluffs west of the Odai River. The old suspension bridge across the Odai is just southeast of the mine entrance. A path leads through a break in the mountains from Pelagite Balmora Road, but the turnoff isn't marked. It may be easiest to go all the way to Balmora, then head south from the gate near the Strider Pod. Climb over the ridge, keeping the river on your left. Watch for the fire of the mining camp at the entrance. Okay, I get it. Okay. I understand now. Okay.